TJ.
Hi, Shorty.
This guy's special.
What's going on, Shorty?
Hey, man.
I am. What am I special for today?
Just as I'm going live, the dude posts a live link on the book map or something.
It was for Josh. He requested.
I'm gonna lose audience. I'm just kidding. Do whatever is best for you.
No,
right.
it's 24/7, so it's not even
really. Wow, that's crazy.
Well, anytime ES is live, that link has the actual like fully unlocked version of Bookmap.
Oh wow!
So you can actually see they've got the stop loss orders and stuff on there.
All right. Well, let me know if you guys see my screen.
Yeah, we got it.
So.
Yep.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys had a good day today. I actually did not get to trade much. I was just honestly, I'm just sleepy. I don't know what's going on. I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm just going to sleep last night. I don't even know what time. And then I kept tossing and turning. I took Unisom and really did not catch sleep till like 4 a.m. And that's when I really knocked out. And then, I was just like, man, I'm just not in the mood for any of it. But I woke up, wrote out the levels for you guys and the game plan, and I literally turned around and kind of knocked out for the most part. But
how are you feeling now?
My energy level is back, but my throat and my voice keep kind of going away.
Man, every time you go out of town, it seems like you're getting sick, dude. It sucks.
Dude, anytime when I go on vacation, I pick shit up. I mean, in Mexico, I think I went like Cabo. I picked shit up there. I think in Cancun, I picked something up. But yeah, anytime I go in Colombia, well, I did pick up stuff in Colombia too.
Yeah.
So that's been my luck, I guess. But kids don't help, man. That's cool. I don't know if you have kids, Josh. I don't think you do, man. But these kids are.
I don't, but I'm around them a lot. Oh yeah. Walking around.
I went to my kiddos the other day. I mean, and I see these kids like they're touching their shoes. The next thing you see them, their hand is in their mouth, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now I get why I'm fucking sick all the time at home.
I hear you, man.
Yeah, but it'll get better. Somebody, whoever said lemon and all the drops, they've been actually helping, at least with the
good too.
Yeah, with the stone and honey, that's been helping a lot.
Nice.
All right. Well, does everybody understand why did I highlight? There were certain things that I highlighted for you guys. I want to make sure you guys understand why. Why did I highlight this the other day?
Just to show the similarities.
Show the similarities, but the setup is actually identical, right?
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is that you have elongated P profile, right? Elongated, just a pretty wide one. And what we say about the P profiles, right? Whenever you have a P profile, you want it to be skinny, right? You want it to look like this. If you see a P shape and it looks like this, the more bumps it has on the bottom, the more time they spent accumulating on the bottom. And when you think about something, when you want to run away from value, you don't want it to stop too much. You want the price to hit, right? You want the price to hit like you did here, right? I would say this is not bad. Hit and keep going. Whenever you see a P profile that looks like this, what does it tell you in terms of price and opportunity? Well, they didn't really know if they want to take this higher. They had these pockets of liquidity. They were fighting sellers here. They were getting absorbed, and then they broke it, and the last batch, right, they took out the sellers. So you can relate to this same way, I know and I don't know if you guys like the peanut butter example or not, but I really think it can help people understand it. If the peanut butter, you're selling it here and people are buying heavily and you're happy, if you lift the price up here as a seller, what do you not want to see?
You don't want it to come back down.
You don't want to see quantity demanded go down.
Right.
You want the quantity demanded go down. If that goes down and you're selling still at the same price, same quantity or less quantity at a higher price, are you really gaining anything? that's where the accounting comes in, and you got to do some math. Your quantity demanded as you're moving the price, because as a seller, how do you find out the spot of something you want to sell? We talked about this. You sell here at $5. You see if they have interest, right? Then you sell it higher, right? At $6, you see if there's interest. If they're buying there the same amount, you lift it to $7. Then you go to $8 until you see what?
The demand go down.
Well, if demand goes down, and let's say you move it to $10 here, and there's nobody buying your peanut butter, well, remember, if there's no value in finding the seller, if he has now a lot of supply and there's no demand here, what does he have to do?
Lower the price.
You go back to the mean, because the mean stayed somewhere around here. You find the highest volume traded, right, which is your POC, and the price will always go back to the mean. Well, in the notes this morning, I mentioned the level to you guys, right? We rejected 2022 value area high, I said numerous times, and this is the level right here, right? Right here, correct? So look at this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. So look at this. You're rejecting, but what is happening here? We talked about this one briefly on the watch list. I don't know if it was what day it was, but we talked about this one here, and I highlighted it. What's special about this profile here?
It went up over the POC of the prior day, reaching for a higher price, and then failed, and had to fall below the prior POC to find a equilibrium point for the day on where the POC of that day formed.
Correct. And then what else? Who would be at this big level here?
Sellers.
This is what type of
sellers?
No, the big boys, the
big boys.
the funds.
The funds are waiting there. They're waiting at this level. This is your long-time sellers. Because if you think about it, right? Let's just bring it up for a second. I just want to make sure everybody gets the message, so it's okay. So here's your 2022, here's your 2023, correct? So I'm just gonna, here's your 2020 value area high, and here's your 2020 value area low, which you guys should notate this on your chart as a target. If they're able to breach this, right, there's a high chance that they're going to be potentially going to this level right here, which would be 4412. I would say there's 90% chance you're going to do that. Okay. If they're not able to do this, and let's say they lose this POC right here, there's a high probability, if you got rejected at one extreme, that you're going to revisit the bottom side. And this happens all the time. And this would be, equivalent to the 80% rule that we talk about.
Shorty, can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
So I've heard you say that before, and obviously during it in a day's profile, it makes a lot of sense, and it's also fathomable. And visiting 3634, obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. But isn't it equally likely possible for it to just stop at that 2022 POC and find its long-term buyers again from last year and then head back up?
They would need to break it first. They need to break that range first with force. So usually what happens, right? So if I'm going to break this level, and this needs to become a little darker. If I need to break this level, this needs to happen with a lot of volume. So these buyers have to be already accumulated and ready to break this level because they know they're going to be met with force of selling.
Mm-hmm.
So them accumulating now, trying to break once they already tested the supply, maybe it's doable. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. But if they spend a lot of time here and they fail, these sellers are going to drive this price here because they won't have anything else to sell. Then comes the PR, and then they're like, oh, crap, man, our inventories are low. Can we get some war news, some COVID news, and send this bad boy back down so we can buy? Think about it.
Yeah.
They're all in the game, guys. And
Right.
this is when you're going to turn your page as a trader till you understand that you will never, ever have any influence in breaking these key levels, and that you're just looking for these moments from here to here every day. And if you can catch these, I mean, if you can catch 50 points daily, you would be very, very, very rich. Right? There's, if you shoot for 25 points per week, that's great on one ES contract. And people don't want to accept that we are the crumbs of the big pot, right? We just collect the small pieces, but you have to do it consistently. And knowing the rules, right, where the big boys come in, we obviously they showed that there's responsible selling here. I mean, look at the candle. You're telling me that this is not responsible selling so far? I mean, you're getting absorbed here, right? You're getting absorbed on this candle. You broke it here. You did not make a higher high on this candle. Do you see a higher high? You have a lower high and a lower low. The trend already reversed here, but people say this was a breakout. Okay, well, if it's a breakout, then why did you take out even this low here? So now they're going to be targeting this level here, and that's the level I said that we're most likely going to be coming back to test is 41.40. And I think here you want to be careful shorting. The only way you short this, I know it's a developing POC, but there's a lot here. I mean, I don't even need that data right here. I'll ignore it. Look at the POC. I mean, it's a big one, and it's a perfect D shape. On a D shape, what's the rules about D shape?
Short the top and buy the bottom of the value.
Yeah, but if you short the tops, where do you get out on D shape?
At the POC.
The POC.
Yeah, POC, which also should be the 50% of the high and the bottom. And look where we are. We're 4 points away. That tells you we are aligned. We're pretty aligned on the price and discount. So most likely we're headed here. Okay. So that's, how I at least was fairly confident in the puts that I had, SQQ position that I enhanced. Is basically on a long-term scale that we are looking, because this is a bigger time frame stuff. This is your monthlies, right? I mean, if you look, I'm sorry, yearlies, your 20 here also left a epoch that we haven't visited at 32.4. And this, usually they don't stay too far behind. They get filled. So this would be a reversion to the mean for a 3-year period. And look where we bounced last time. A lot of you guys were not in the Discord. Well, a majority of you were. What did we talk about when this was happening? Does anyone recall? You guys recall the 2022 value area high versus 21 low? We said you're going to break this, most likely trap people and bounce.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember that? Nobody. Yeah. So that was the idea, because these are the big boy levels, and this was just the acceptance. We are accepting higher, but right now we're not accepting higher than 2022 value area high. So right now, the range that you have is pretty much, I would say, here to here. This is your range right now, 3634 to 4220. You're trading happily in here, right? And if you look at this on, let's say, a higher time frames, just take a look. Here, let's just remove this, hide this.
Hey, Shorty, when you say that that range, but like the price right now is like 41.60. So like, how do you decide if that's going to be the range?
Well, just based on the value area highs that were there. So let me bring it back up. So if this right here is where we bounced, right? 2020 value area high, 3579, and we are unable to break 2022 value area high, this becomes the new brackets on the market. Bottom and the top.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I can't grab from here on volume profile. Why? Why can I not grab from here?
Because you ran out.
Because that's December.
Actually, you can't. I was just making sure that nobody. Why can I not grab from here if I'm looking at the bigger picture? This is when we enter the range.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's the start of the new year, or
Well, no, this is just start.
Yeah, you
Look, you
can.
rejected here, and what did you do here? You confirmed this breakout here. You
Mhm.
confirmed it. So this is your new range, and then this will be your top on a bigger scale. Until we break 4805, you're not going to have a new bull period, guys. The new bull periods are marked when you set new highs.
Jake? I don't know. That Jake guy was saying it's different.
Your trend can change and be a bullish trend, but you're really a bullish trend and like a bull market, right? I mean, you're gonna create new highs here. You're gonna want to come in with force, right? So right now, if you hide this and you look at this, is your big boy level right here. Like this is your big stuff here. I wouldn't want to mess with the POC in this area here now. So 41.39. And here's your value area high right here, whatever you want to call that, 42.54-ish. I'm pretty blind, so somewhere around there. But this, you cannot trade this on a daily. Obviously, it would take a long time. But if you're unable to break that, which is also your 2020 value area high, so what is it that they can do here? Just think about it. What did they do on the bottom here? They can do the same on the top. How would they do it? This would be easy. You give Jake and the State Farm boys a little bit to think about, and then you do this.
Wrap up.
Wouldn't that make sense? Hey, we broke out. Come back. Up. And you're still back in the range. It would be the ideal range.
Yep.
Well, hopefully before December.
I hope so.
32 or 42?
I personally think we're gonna hit the 2020 value area, the POC, the VPOC on 2022. That would be my level to potentially look into adding some, not full positions, but like long, the VOO, some of the dividends stuff on ETFs. I'll be looking to add like VTSAX. Those are the ones I would add at these levels, and then 2,700 is when I would go a little bit heavier on my 401k.
You're talking like scaling in, beginning at like 3250 to like 2700.
Yeah, I would scale in here on my 401k and my long-term accounts, my kids' accounts. I would start scaling here, not obviously large. As if I see weakness, ideally, I want to do somewhere around here. Okay. Does everybody understand why I was turning short? I mean, I just want to make sure it's nobody's lost. Okay.
Seems pretty clear.
All right. So now you see what they did here, right? This was the profile right here that we had at, the 4171. This was an important profile for them to hold, right? Because this is where you had a lot of imbalance, both times created above this level. So I honestly thought, 4170 was going to be the level that they're going to be used for the bounce. And if you look at this, just go to the high right here and uncheck. And look right here. So 4170, I was like, okay, they probably will bounce, but I was like, you know what? If this was a short cover rally, do you expect them to respect this as buyers?
No, because shorts are in the market now at the top.
Good job. Yeah, it was a tricky question. If this was real buyers, don't you think this would have been defended here?
Yeah.
Why not? You cause the squeeze and you don't want to defend the reaccumulation point. You go under it?
Yeah, because you're shorting.
Because you're shorting, you're just covering the shorts. So you're not a real buyer. And remember, a lot of people said, well, on Google, hey, are you sure? I got messages on Twitter. Are you sure that you should short this at any point here? I said, not at all. And same thing on Amazon. I mean, we covered the same concepts on Amazon. We said that there was start entry at 115s. It can go to 125s, 120s, and you're loading up for a ride down. I mean, Apple, I don't know where it closed. Oh,
Low.
yeah, this is so it did create an island top on a daily here. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, it's getting ugly.
Yeah, I mean this is getting ready for potential collapse.
Can you explain, like if you go back to that POC that, yeah, like you were showing that POC how they just went through it, and you said you expected to bounce, but then they went through it. So what? I guess like what? I guess
for me, if the way let me rephrase that. If I saw a bounce right here, what would it tell me about this profile and type of buyers?
that there are buyers.
That there were actually buyers, that it wasn't a short cover rally. But once they sliced it, I mean, look at this. They gave a little bit, and they sliced right below it. Was it a short cover rally or a buyers? And we haven't completely fixed this profile. We came in close. I'm pretty sure we're going to be fixing this overnight here. Maybe by the time
we're going to go?
just watch this.
Do you think we'll test 70 before we do that?
I don't think so. I mean, it's overnight. I'm not going to say I don't trade overnight. I don't know the behavior, but this level here has some suppliers. Look at this. I mean, if they're able to break this level and go above it, sure. But somebody doesn't like it at this level. Somebody's not happy here. So let's see. I mean, I would put my stop loss somewhere probably right above this if I was going to short this. Your profits, I mean, it's 2 points. I would drive the bottom of the liquidity first, 53, which is 10 points for maybe 2 points loss. It's not a bad trade, but I do think they're going to fix profile tonight. And the news that are about to come out probably at any moment, right? Is going to be the debt ceiling is going to be raised. The stock market will pop. And then depends on the liquidity and where we are and how we get there. I think, eventually when you raise, the debt ceiling, they're going to be buying the debt. They're going to be buying the bonds. So they're going to be, taking the liquidity out of the market. So, but we'll see how they play it out. They've been doing some weird shit with Fed lately. Overall, I mean, since the whole COVID started, but let's see. And this POC is your, I guess, key point now. Let's see if we break it. So does that make sense? Did I answer your question? This POC, I just want to fix it myself.
Yep. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yep. And then here, this is where the importance happened. This was the most important profile, right? You guys nailed Bean, and I don't know who else spoke, but you guys nailed a lot of points here, right? You guys mentioned all of those that you reject. You went above, you rejected, you lost this POC, you couldn't hold it, right? You went, and I mean, and this giant candle here, I would say with a pretty big selling volume on it, right? So, and how many of these green candles do you have that are relatively correct on volume on this whole run up? It shouldn't take you long to spot. Look at this. You have a green candle. What happens on volume?
Keeps dropping.
Decline.
Dropping. Absorption happening at the top. I'm looking again. The only one that I see here at 3:30 on Thursday, there's this giant candle that has a top wick, half an hour at the end. That's the only one. Then you have this one here, which was also, I would call it, almost like a reversal candle, right? I mean, it's pretty big. But they did not take out the high from here, which is interesting, right? You have all this volume and a reversal, and you're not even able to test it. And then what you do is you try to come here. Remember, this right now, this is a compressed P shape, right? Or a double distribution in normal world. But it's compressed compared to the other ranges, right? You see the range here. This is a compressed B. Then you have the skinny belly, or if you want to call them single prints here. If they're not able to take out this, remember what I said about double distribution days? Do you guys recall? if you're able to take out, if you go to the bottom and take out this double distribution, what did I say? You want to get out of the way if you're short. If you have a B shape, and I remember this, I remember myself saying this, if you're going between here and you drop here, and from here you're able to break this shelf, you want to move out of the way, being on a short side.
Is that because the understanding is that the buyers are so strong that they took out that upper distribution? So
exactly, you want to just step out. This is really important to understand if you see it intraday as well, right? When you see a double distribution happening, like for instance, you see here, this is just a very awkward, I don't even know if this is a B shape. It's not really. It's just a really awkward skew distribution. You start in a D shape and out of nowhere, 330 again, you get a little spike up. But this is the importance. So psychologically, what happened in the auction here? Who wants to summarize in the peanut butter way? So if somebody doesn't get it, they can't understand it.
They tried to sell peanut butter at $10 and the demand kept dropping. So then they just sliced through it to go find buyers at a lower price.
What would the auctioneer do here if you're watching this, let's say on a real auction?
He was raising the price until he got no bids.
He raises the price and his tone would change. Going once, who wants this great item? Blah, 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 blah. Starts jacking up. Going once, going twice. And then somebody, whoever bid last, poor guy, bless his soul right here.
Jake.
The guy, Jake, they say sold. And this guy holds the candle now. He has to keep the lights on with his liquidity. Like, you do not, what did I say about price discovery? Do you want to be the first one here?
No.
You never, I don't care if you leave this Discord tomorrow, but don't ever be the first one to do the price discovery. If you have prints here and that there's no prints, obviously the high, the range high, don't be the first one to bid above the range, please, ever. At least don't make that mistake ever in your life. Because you are just a tiny little fish in this big old ocean, and your little impact is just going to get swollen and you're going to regret it. You cannot trigger somebody to follow your order, right? You will not bring anyone into a pit by placing your 2 MES contracts long. Okay, so just don't do the price discovery by yourself here. And what they did here, they sped up the auction. And how do we pop out of this? And I think here we talked about this. We said, they're probably going to break this triangle and try to push up, right? I don't know what day it was. I think it was Friday. But they did this, and look at the break. Just follow this, right? They did a nice break here. I mean, whoever caught this from the bulls, they're like, man, we got the volume, we got everything pushing up here. And look at this. Look how fast they dropped this. At 9 o'clock, boom, you open, and then you just start selling off. Once you clear that 216, I mean, you cleared the path, right? I mean, you went down and boom. And then Monday, what did you do? Monday, you didn't really do much, right? I mean, you didn't even break the highs. And when you did come to this, I mean, think about this. So if you just grab this area here, look where we rejected. Well, let me show you. So it doesn't look like I'm making shit up. Is that interesting? Does anyone see what they did today?
Yeah, they grabbed that liquidity, tested that POC overnight, and then just sold.
What level is this for this day here, for this session? What is this?
The range high.
It's PDH, range high. They came back, they saw a bunch of orders and people willing to do the price discovery higher. And they said, okay, well, thank you. Thank you for buying calls. Thank you for long. Let's go reverse, 70 points down.
It was also a good spot because the 4 cloud was pretty close above.
How close was it?
It was, I think, minus 3, and then by the midday it went to like -7.
Yeah, but I think it was physically touching at one point because it's been moving up.
I was thinking to take a short, but I didn't get up in the night.
Can I add it real quick?
It was before hours.
Yeah, I think that price happened like around this time yesterday, basically 24 hours ago. I think that candle.
But it was
Yeah.
lower before. It was lower a little earlier. It's actually moved up to that level.
Do you guys see what's being executed just now?
Bearish.
Bearish backdoor on the clouds.
Bearish backdoor.
This is actually a perfect bearish backdoor along because you had that sell-off POC and this.
Oh, so that works off a closed cloud too, the bearish backdoor? I thought it was only when I thought it was only when it was closed.
Or if it's closed,
It works on
remember,
open?
if it's closed,
Then it's
I
really
go very heavy on
yeah.
closed cloud backdoors. If this was closed,
Yeah.
I don't sleep. If I can go get my Red Bull and I'll take this trade. I'll manage this trade all night. If it was closed, that would be an easy money, right? Whenever that happens, remember it happened maybe 2 months ago, KSN?
Yeah.
And I said
Even
this is a perfect
last
short.
year, I think we went from like 4,100 and we dumped like 200 points from the closed cloud.
Yeah, I mean when it's cloud closed and we're in a bearish setup, yeah, man, you have to take that. You have to trust it because that's what that's what grew my account. I would say heavy. And look at the 3-day.
What's that one? What's
This
that
is
cloud?
oh, this is the first one is weekly here.
The one on the bottom there. That's the
On the
weekly?
bottom is 30 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, 30-minute. Okay.
Yeah. So the big one here is what I'm interested in. I want this. So the next level here is 4085-ish. Let's just change this to monthly. Oh. Yeah, we're just in equilibrium on the bigger scale, but if we lose this level here, 4090, there's a high chance to drop to 3900, 200 points.
I think even the daily mid is where we are bouncing right now on ES.
Daily, 1 week, monthly. Yeah, daily meds right here, 4156, 55.5, and this is also 50% retracement. So once you lose this, 4 weeks from now, I know it sounds crazy, but this is where we're gonna be.
Introducing
VPOC 4087.
Oh yeah, there's a VPOC here. I mean, we don't even need candles for that. Look, the range never came down. It would be at 40. I thought it was 4081.
4076 from 5-4.
Well, I think I misled you guys on last night on the notes.
Yeah, it's 76, and then there's one more at 43.
Look, man, I think I misled you guys last night. I think I said VPOC at 4181. That's how fucking exhausted I was. Yeah, 4176 is correct. Or 75.5, something like that. So that would match, guys. I mean, I know it might seem like, yeah, I'm bearish. I'm not bearish, guys. I play what they give us, right? And I honestly didn't think we're gonna break a bracketed market. And usually the bear market rallies, and I know this is also insane, but go look at bear market rallies and how long it takes to get out of a consolidation. So watch. So here's your bear market, right? You start, you put in a new low. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that this was consolidation here? This whole period till I don't extend it. Is this just consolidation in the market?
Basically.
Yeah.
Holy, 20 years of
That
consolidation.
or it's two bear markets.
Yeah, but what this is telling you is usually when you enter these moments, right? So from 98, you also had a couple of years before that there was some bad markets, right? You had 83 before that, you know, on the ES, we don't have it. If we go SPX, we probably get it.
87 had a big.
Yeah,
one, I
87
think.
was big. So there's this one here. But you see these are small, just, you know, these are not that big. These right here, I would say, you know, the 2000.com, right?
Mhm.
Then you have
.com
what
bubble
happened here,
burst and then
2008.
Yep.
You had the financial crisis, but look how long it took to fix. These are the bear markets, guys. I mean, these are 6-month candles. So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in a bear market. They say typically, and I'm just telling you what, you know, what the rule is. If you have a true bear market, and we need one more candle here, we need a couple of more candles below this to kind of really enter the bear market territories. If we are to enter that, it would take us, you know, probably 6 to 8 years to go into a bull market. And I'll just let you guys forecast that, right? But it takes 6 to 8 years to actually enter the bull market. And here, I mean, if you just time it, I guess 4928 divided by 265. Whoever has calculator handy. Or divided by 365. I think that's grabbing actual days.
13.5 years.
So 13.5 years here between these periods. Between the high and a failed high that you had here, you didn't break it. So you consolidated just between these points here and the breakout, 13 years, guys. So don't think the market can't stay in a bracketed market for a long time. People just think it's bull and bear. There's a lot of bracketed markets, right? Bracketed markets happen literally on every time frame. I mean, just think about it. Here's your SPX. And this is what people fail to realize, right? Is in the bracketed markets, I can have a bull trend in a bracketed market, can I not?
Definitely can.
I mean, I would say this is, you know, lower high. Here's your change of character. We popped over it. We consolidated again inside a bracketed market, created another range, broke above, higher highs, higher lows. That's a bull market. But when I go on 8 hours, you know, you popped above here, you're testing to see if you can make a higher high and break it. And what happened?
Just a little blip up.
Yeah. So when you guys look at it, please understand in bracketed markets, we can have bullish trends. We definitely can do that. But that doesn't mean my thesis on the whole market changed. It didn't, right? We are still in bracketed. It means neutral market. We are not bearish or bullish right now. When you think about, you know, the structure of the market, you have lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and then you have higher lows, higher highs. So you're kind of changing the character here. You know, your 4100 is super important. Until we go back below this market, then what happens? You're entering a little bit of bearish territory again until you confirm here at 38.11. Once you break it, why would this confirm structurally we're in a bear market? Remember, there's difference between structure and what we are learning about volume profiles and value areas, right? Leaving a value area and accepting in another one is a change, right? So same here, structurally, what needs to happen in order to change the sentiment? Well, what about this level? I have higher highs. I don't have what? I don't have a lower high, and
You know, have a lower low.
I need a lower low. So once this changes, if we lose this level here, well, then I would say we're entering a little bit of a bear stance again. For right now, you're just, I mean, for how many weeks is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks right now. You've been literally in this range that I highlighted, what, like 150 points?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. We used to do that here.
We do 120 in a day sometimes.
Yeah.
We did back then.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? So now you're consolidating until we break this. That's our bear stance changes, because right now it's just bracketed. And when you think about a bigger thing that we just talked about on SPX, I mean, this is your bracketed order here. I'm sorry, not bracketed order. This is your levels. Look, you came here, and you know it's not going to be perfect. So something like this, right? It's almost like an SR flip. So now this is your top range. This is your range 2 now. So this is your value on the top, value on the bottom. And I'm sure you could figure out a mid-value point somewhere as well. And if you know, precisely drew your FVPs in certain areas, right? Now it depends, are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader, right? If you're a long time swing trader, would you care about any of this? I would just grab when I enter this market, right? When did I enter here? I would say, hey, once you reach the extremes, here you go. Once you reach this level or this level, I get it to play. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mhm.
Remember the page in the PowerPoint that talks about anxiety level? Somebody say yes, I'm getting paranoid.
What was your question? That's the question.
I said in the PowerPoint, I talk about anxiety level. Does anyone remember that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, if you like mention something about it, I'm sure it'll click to me. I went over that like when I joined, so it's been a
So
minute.
what about this?
Yeah, I remember us going over this. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so now, whose anxiety level as we're approaching this level? Let's say we're approaching this level, a long-term seller is getting a little antsy, right? And they're not antsy for the same reasons me and you are antsy. They're worried about if they're going to be able to sell the $1 billion, right? Us and them have different emotions that happen at the top. They know what they're doing because they already bought at the bottom here, and they're going to sell here. We don't. We are afraid to buy the bottoms. We buy the tops. We look for breakouts, and that's where they're looking to sell. If you start looking at the value level, it makes more sense than at the price level, right? So here, this is where the long-term sellers get a little anxiety, right? So they go from passive to aggressive, right? So look at this. They're chilling, they're not buying, and then they become active, right? Anxiety level for short term, most of us, right? I mean, some of us are long-term buyers as well, but when we were day trading, this is us, guys. You know, you're quick. You know, it's really aggressive. You're constant. You're waiting for signals, short time instincts. You know, you're in there, and you're fairly aggressive on the feeling. So it's important you guys understand, at least, structurally, these are the value areas. But now when I look at the volume profile, what is volume profile confirming any of this? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, if I look at the zone for selling, here's our zone for selling. So we're only ignoring this portion of, what is this? This is 43 to 81.16. So 50 points being ignored here from volume standpoint.
Is that
So
a
now we
6.3
know
or is that a 68? Is that the third sig?
This is third, yeah.
Okay.
So now, I mean, this becomes your buying zone. This becomes your selling zone. And when the big boys sell, do you really think they care if they got 48165 or 4812?
No, probably not.
Let me ask you this. Bean, if you picked up a contract at 35.25 and you want to exit, you have to exit in this range at the top. Would you care if you get 4750 or 4756? You
No.
bought here. You would say keep
Fair.
the tip. You would say I'd not give a shit about your 5 points.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sell it.
As long
Yeah.
as you get
And-
filled, especially if it was big.
Exactly. Now you see their mindset. They don't change their orders. A real seller does not ghost orders. Who ghosts orders is the manipulators in the market they're entered there to make you think and get you to a level. When you see a big order on a sell side, let's ask Catching Rockets on a heat map. What do you say? I've heard you say it many times. Man, there's a big wall there.
Yeah, just
Right.
stacks of orders.
And then when the wall goes away, you're like, man, all those sellers moved up. Right?
Well,
When
I
the
don't
price
say-
keeps going right up.
I don't say
If it goes
sellers.
above the level, what do you say?
They pulled the orders, or they, or
Okay, pulling orders and moving them up, I would say one of the same, right? Very close. The idea is that the orders are not there.
But
Why would somebody in the auction move the order away? Catching Rockets, you're a seller. You're selling apples again. Let's say peanut butter. Let's stick with peanut butter. You're selling at 5. At what point would you move your sell point to 8?
When you see the buyers are aggressive.
You're selling peanut butter store and there's 30 people lining up in front of your store and they're like, oh yeah, we heard you have peanut butter at 5. You look at your supply, you have enough. So what do you start doing? You start maximizing profits. You're going to be like, hey guys, I'm running a little low on the supply right here. I only have a case left of peanut butter. I have to increase it to 650. What does the guy that heard it first in the line tells the other guy behind him? Or a lady?
Buy.
Oh man, you better get it before they run out.
Oh man, he's running low on supply on the peanut butter.
Dude, I'm
What
buying
do
the
you think?
case.
Okay, but I don't know if anyone has heard of this experiment. Do you think the first person in line and the person that's line 30 are getting the same message? Is that message going to be identical as the first person heard and said?
No.
The good old game of telephone, and it does not work.
It never works, guys. I think there's a study on it. You can Google it. I think it was like 87% of the time, the message that's perceived, it's not even like 10% accurate. So there's a very fucking high chance that they're just going to exaggerate it. Like I've had friends, they went and bought toilet paper when COVID started. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. If you lost somebody, dude, I'm not laughing at the disease. I'm just like, out of all of the fucking things you could buy, you went and bought toilet paper.
Costco was out. They limited you to one package per, and then they did it for like a couple weeks. That they literally, as soon as they got it in, only let somebody buy one.
But
Yeah,
that's
it's like standing in
that's the
line.
biggest of your worry is the toilet paper. How are you gonna wipe your butt? What? I'm sorry. I just don't get it. I seriously don't get it. I don't. It bothers me. If somebody can explain why, I'm all for it. Please hit me. I just don't get it. Anyways, so the same concept, Drew, is you would maximize profits by going up till nobody else. Look what happened here. This guy bought more. He's like, oh man, I averaged down. Oh, okay, great. Thanks for the average down, right? And we're going to continue the path. So now the key level for tomorrow, right? This is on SPX. I wouldn't base these levels too much on profile. But for tomorrow, what do you want to see happen here? How do you want to play it? Let me give you some context here.
Well, you already said that.
If we could go up, go ahead. I'd love to retest off 70 in short.
I would love retest of 95.
I thought you mentioned earlier that you expect them to fix it overnight. The range.
They're gonna fix it overnight. That doesn't mean they can't pop it from here to 95. Also overnight.
Retest the PDPOC and then go short.
Yeah. Ideal short entry for us, if we understand anything about this, unless news come out tomorrow about, the debt ceiling or any other news that can. I think there's news for London session. I think Acting kept saying something.
FOMC minutes as well.
What is it?
FOMC minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that can do it. That can definitely be done. So I do expect them to fill this, and I expect them to fill it overnight between like 2 and 3:30 a.m. Eastern to fix
All
this.
the way up to the POC or down below?
I expect it to be 40 though. I expect it to be, so look at this. I mean, just let's remove candles, right? I don't know if guys helps, but to me it helps without candles where I can see a lot more. So look at this. Wouldn't this be the range where we consolidated before we got the short cover rally?
Yep.
So where's that POC? Right there, 37. So I would take this zone right here and to right here. This becomes my payment extend, right? This becomes your imbalance return buy zone. If they get here, you know, I do think if they're gonna do it, they do it tonight. Because they wouldn't have, they're not gonna worry here. They're just gonna let retail fight it out. Well, let's see.
To add confluence to that, that's also your 2023 developing POC area.
Wow, this is?
Yeah, the 4138.
Wow, that's a big level. Yeah, because this is even from March 31st. See this range here. Yeah, this is a fairly big level. I mean, if you look at this, your current from March, remember that range that we were in? I was still keep this range, but you see that POC is there. Do you guys remember that the POC was at 53 for the longest? Can you guys recall that, or I need to go back in time?
Yeah, I thought that was the 2-year POC.
That was a 2-year POC. So you don't have to answer now, but I want you to think about it. Next time you can answer it. If we're at POC and we created an imbalance to the upside, why did the POC shift down? Just think about it. If you want to answer it, but something to think about. It's important you guys understand that because it's also in the PowerPoint.
The manipulation.
Anyone else? That's
Shorty,
okay.
you
If you
said like when the price moved up, the POC moved down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tricky.
I think
Less
earlier
volume.
in the month we were ranging down a little bit. We had a downtrend. And 53 was 4153 was a point of control of interest for the range, but it was bouncing forth between 4153 and 4138, and they sent it from 53 to 38 before sending it up higher.
Mm-hmm.
And 4138 has more activity than 53 as of now in this range. So even though it's up
where did
higher,
we bounce today?
53.
53.
Okay. So what does it tell you? I mean, I'm grabbing a lot more data, right? I mean, you have to consider I'm grabbing, more than 30 days, right? Yeah, a lot more, almost 2 months. So what happens 1 time, 2 times bounces of areas? You're gonna have that, right? That means they were not sure which way they want to go. So this whole consolidation generated this POC, right? So the 1 and 2 in betweens, it went above and came back. Not very important. If this POC, if I go back in time, if I shift it to here, let's say to this level, let me just make sure it's not extended. Is it still 53 or is it 37?
37.
37. So even before the takeoff, it was 37. When I extend it, it moved to $1.50. do you expect if you move somewhere, 50 points, 70 points, I'm sorry, 80 points, that you wouldn't, if you attracted volume, shouldn't you lift this up higher?
Theoretically, but you don't have enough time there and volume.
Okay, well, what about here? If I start from this consolidation to here, you can test that, right?
Yeah. But that's
If I-
that area you just highlighted is where all the POC was essentially pulled the node down from 53 down to the
Yeah,
37
looks
because
now.
of this time frame you're got highlighted here.
You're comparing this to this. Correct?
Right.
The
You take the
POCs,
whole
yeah.
thing exactly, and that's the
Yeah.
reason it got pulled down was that time period you got selected.
Yep. So now if
Because
I go
the node
here,
got
you're
pulled
saying
down.
it should be.
It'll be up. Oh,
It'll be 53. No, it should shift 53.
there we go.
Correct.
Yeah.
Look. So then they accumulate lower, but as they shifted it up, okay, well, so then logically, right, is everybody following or no? Is there anyone confused?
I'm still trying to figure out how it would shift
Okay.
down.
So, okay, so I just want to say in the formula, this is our A. This zone here is our A zone, okay? This is our A right here, right?
Mhm.
This is our B.
Mhm.
And let's call this whatever. I don't care about for that one. I don't care for now. Let's change this to there, purple. This was our A. Our POC for A is a 53. We dropped below it, right? And when we drop below, the POC also dropped below. Does that check out?
Yes.
It does. And the volume, look at the volume on the bottom.
It was the high node of A.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you reestablished and you really, really sold off here. You had really pick volume. Look at the volume picking up here. That's pretty good. And then here you started selling off and you see, there's some volume nodes here on the dailies that you sold off, then you slowed down the selling. And I guess you came all the way here and then you see the buying. So on the bottom of this range, they started buying again. And then they consolidated higher, but the POC did not go higher. That shows me what? If you're in a peanut butter, if I'm not buying aggressively at the higher level, remember the price example earlier with peanut butter? We come here, we sell. When there's no aggressiveness, what happens?
Yeah, the demand is slowing down now.
Demand stops, the supply goes down. I mean, the price goes down. Supply is still there. The same concept here. They didn't like the peanut butter. They didn't like it. And then this guy got so many orders for peanut butter and had to do what?
Raise the price.
You have to bring it back to the mean. And they pushed it back to the mean. I would say they came right above it, right? They 65. And then look where the POC started. And then they consolidated ever since this day. They consolidated and they bought the peanut butter at lower prices. As a seller, what does that tell you? If I'm selling peanut butter lower, what does it tell you about the demand?
Demand is light.
The demand at higher prices is low. You have to think about seller, guys. Don't think about the buyers. The seller here is like, oh man, I can't sell everything at 53. I have to go below. They're like, yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to sell it here. And then, oh, you know what? The peanut butter farms in California are burning. Okay, hey guys, no longer peanut butter here. It's $10 now. And people need peanut butter, but they're like, damn.
But when it moves up like that and the POC doesn't move, what does that mean though?
You did not attract new buyers.
Low volume.
Shorty, would that be like
short covering, right? They drove it up
Guys,
short covering.
Let me give you an idea. Me and Bean work together. All right, we sell peanut butter. We are peanut butter mafia. Bean, remember that little telephone game? I come and I tell Bean, hey Bean, go in there, be the first in line and read some news and tell them the peanut butter farm is burning. peanut butter crisis coming, right? And think about it. Peanut butter is needed for you to, to live off. What this first person is going to freak out, and he's going to say, this guy is going to come and say, hey, only limit 2 per customer. What does that do to a person when you start limiting what they can buy?
They want it more.
Emotions wise. Oh, I want it more.
I want toilet paper, not peanut butter.
Exactly. So now, since you limit it there, right, to manipulate a human, you just tell them you can't have it. And I mean, even my friends, I have friends, some wealthy, some not. A guy that's not wealthy, all my not wealthy friends drive better cars than my wealthy friends. You know why? Because at some point, the rich guy probably joked and told the poor guy that he can't have it. And the poor guy knows the rich guy can have it, but he doesn't want it. So now the poor guy has to show him that he has the money, which he doesn't. Right? It's the same concept here. I tell Bean, hey, 2 per customer. And Bean freaks out. Oh my God, guys, hear the news. He just started limiting, and you put that sign right as they're waiting. Limit 2 per customer. Well, this guy gets the message. This guy gets the message. He's like, man, you got to buy the peanut butter. And then this guy, raises the price here. Remember what we said when that ghost order goes away or rolls up?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now being freaked out, and let's say he sends a guy that makes a bid above, raises the gap, right? And then this guy's like, oh, $9. I don't know if you ever watched auctions, but there's people that are like tired of the low bids. Like on the event that I was in, there was a vacation for Venice, I believe, 10 days, some stupid shit for $28,000. Lady literally just comes out of the gate, 35. And I'm just like, okay, what, like, okay, this is like, I just was like what? Like, what the fuck? And I told my wife before that that's what's going to happen on some of these items. And why would they do that? Why would Bean bid at 9 or send his son to say, here's $9 for peanut butter? Why
They
would
already
Bean
want to put their
orchestrate
claim
that?
in it.
To get other people excited.
Yeah, you kind
Get
of
other people excited and get their emotions flying, and then they come back and they buy peanut butters from us at $9 instead of $4. So how did I, as a seller, maximize my profits? I manipulated a little bit, right? I didn't go publicly, in the news or say something, right? Not that it matters that you can't do it. I mean, you saw the Pentagon news and AI. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of those type of news that can move the markets.
Well, the latest news is that there's a strain of COVID in China that's starting to come, so you better run out and buy your toilet paper.
Well, I was your first case then, guys. It's not that bad. I'm getting over it in 3 days. My odds of getting COVID are fucking high. That's what I figured out. I've had it at least 7 times. And still alive. Okay. So and just be honest, does this help anyone understand some of this stuff a little bit better?
Yeah.
Because I feel like
It
sometimes
definitely
people don't
does.
understand really the auction and the process of how it works and what it means.
So, I get
It helps a lot.
my question. I guess like the part that. So who's pushing it up then? Like if there's no demand, like there's no volume, but it goes up. It's just manipulation.
Have you been on Twitter lately?
So you're just saying like because everybody's getting hyped up, so that's the way it pushes it up because of
We
retail.
created FOMO because retail thinks they missed the boat.
Okay.
They're like,
Yeah,
oh my God,
that makes sense.
I can't get NVIDIA at 300. It's going to 500. Mom, I promise if you buy everything with your savings in NVIDIA at 300, it's going to go to 500 by the year end. Jake said it. And poor mom goes in and puts $100,000 in NVIDIA. But this poor person, right? This guy was not screaming to buy NVIDIA at 100. It was too expensive at 100. But he does suggest you buy it at 300.
Clear
Was
breakout at 300.
Does that help, or I lost you?
No. That helps. That explains it perfectly.
The
Inverse
market's
timer.
changed. The behavior of the market's changed over years, guys. And till you prove me wrong, it's more about the value, perceived value of a stock rather than anything else. Tell me fundamentally. Okay, I'm not gonna pick on the video. I need something else. UPST, Amazon. I think their price to earnings is around 50. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed it. You have Amazon price to earnings of 273. What do you think? Like, who is Amazon's competitor? Like, I know they're in a lot of crap, but if you had to compare one company, which one would you compare?
I mean, the closest probably like Walmart, yeah, Walmart.
Yeah, I would say Walmart's close enough. They don't have the Azure, right? The AWS. I'm sorry, AWS stuff. But I would say Walmart's closest. What do you think the PE ratio is for Walmart?
20, maybe 25.
Let's look.
Closer.
34.
So when you think
Wow.
about it, right? If I was to think about price to earnings, like how much am I paying for based on what you're making? And if you're willing to pay 276 times, then it's a good value for you. You think Amazon's at a good value. If I want to buy Amazon, I would want it to be, I would give them, a couple of points for having AWS compared to Walmart. But man, I don't know if I would give them, a couple of hundred times for AWS, right? And they're not the lead. I would say they're not the leader right now in AWS, in cloud space, right? So I don't know, right? So you look at fundamentally, is there value? Well, maybe not, right? Then you look at the financials more, you understand the different type of ratios. You look at it technically, right? You're like, okay, well, if you're, I have to think differently. What the fuck would you call people to buy at the tops? If you are buying shares right here, let's say you're buying shares right here on a breakout, just think about it.
Sheep.
Maybe I just can't conceptualize. Why would you buy here and not risk money? Let's say once you deviated from here 60% or whatever this drop is, you lost 25%, right? It was support here, you lost it. You dropped here, you consolidated. Let's say you lost this level and you reclaimed it. Why wouldn't you at least buy it here at, let's say, 90? If you know the next previous resistance is at 115. But no, instead, what you do is you wait for, you really think hedge funds are raising the price here for you so you can catch the breakout with them?
That's the FOMO.
Come on. I mean, they're playing against you, not for you. They're going to get the price up there, but that's mainly to get the liquidity. When they do want to, if you go back to, let's find 2020.
Shorty, what's AWS?
It's cloud space, cloud computing.
Oh, okay.
Here's your breakout before, right? 2020. Think psychologically what sellers did here, or case buyers and sellers together. From here to here. Think, what did they do?
Consolidated.
Yeah. Randomly, consolidation happened for a very long time. And then what did they do? They did a test, right?
Yep.
They made sure that there was a little bit of FOMO there right before COVID dropped. Right? And then what did they do to your feelings here, between here and here?
Hell was freezing over.
Oh man, all of you guys got toilet paper, so it was fucking bad. And then you basically came back and look at the value bounce right here. You came back to the value of this consolidation and you bought what? A shitload more.
Yep.
while telling people the world is ending. Right?
Yep.
This was real. This was banks buying with zero interest money and making sure that they can make shitload of money for probably last time in case they are preparing a bigger, type of shit. Because they loaded here heavily. They freaked you out. They bought more. Because what did retail start doing when they freaked them out here?
They sold. They
They
dumped it.
sold. This candle wouldn't be that big if they didn't. They needed help from retailers. Therefore, they got it. That's why a big old green candle and then an explosion. Let's look at the pattern here now. I would say this is a clear distribution. Would you guys agree?
Yep.
Volume is, I mean, just test it, right? Go on dailies, check the volume, and picking is up on volume. They're selling, they break this range, they sell it off. They brought it back in here. They sold off again off the distribution. They're like, nope, we got more, emptied out completely. If there was interest from these buyers to defend, right, where they bought it initially, right, they should be making soon newer highs, and they should be testing what?
The bottom of that channel. Yeah.
They got to be coming here and say, hey guys, yeah, let's make sure you guys were real about this sell-off. And they're going to drive, right? They're going to use the news to manipulate. If this is a long-term play, if you notice that, let's say that we count this as a change of character at 121.23 and they start finding new value, like right above here, if they start coming here and they're consolidating now here, it looks like, and especially if volume agrees that we're getting fresh new buyers, they come in here and they're consolidating, probably the plan is here, right? Ultimately, you'll get to 160 and that's it. But if you now fall back inside here, and let's say you give retail a false hope, maybe of, a bear flag or a bear pennant break here, and let's say they break it, it doesn't mean that they won't defend this area at all. They can still defend it. So we can stay ranging, and I know it's, it sounds crazy, but guys, we can stay in here for the same period we stayed in here. If this is going to be a real bounce, it needs to look, they need to accumulate here for a long period of time. So now, what do they do when they go to the top and come back down and freak you out? What do you think they're doing? They're accumulating for another big move. And that doesn't mean it's going to be higher or lower till we see how are we moving relative to the POC. Just like we're consolidating now in ES and what we were looking at, right? We were looking at that range that we had. Did I delete every level on ES? Oh, that's great. I did.
Check your object tree. No, bottom. There you go.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
well, that's okay.
You did. You could do undos, but you'd have to go really far back.
Okay, we'll go for it. Anyways, now I lost my thought when I was going to go. So we're consolidating. That's what I was saying. We're consolidating the same way now for 2 months. And what do you see from retail traders? Has anyone before this breakout said, my God, this market's so boring. It's been consolidating for almost forever?
Here.
What does that tell you about patience of a typical person?
Pretty low.
Pretty low, guys. So if you're really going to make a massive move on a scale, right, just look at the number of days it's taking, right, versus comparison. So we spent some time here, we sold off, we didn't really make lower lows. So now if they're able to, let's say, break this level of 410, 4210, they go above it and they start accumulating above that level. The game changes, especially from volume profile. If you break that 2022 value area high, right, and we're looking for new area, then you're getting a combination as long as the volume checks off. We're getting new buyers, we're finding new value areas, we're getting, we should be getting on longer pictures, like on the weekly profiles. What type of shape should we be getting if we're going higher? Which one?
P-shape.
No,
P.
you should have healthy P-shaped profiles, right? I mean, you should be moving up. Well, why my FVPs not showing up at all? Or PVPs? Oh, haha. So, I mean, think about this. What did we do here on a weekly profile from that 40 level? You guys see it?
On the bottom.
You have a P shape. You reaccumulated more, reaccumulated. If you're serious about this, it should be flipped. You don't spend a lot of time, you're going higher, and that becomes believable, right? Once you're running up, and if they continue this with the P shape here, right, your previous high has not even been challenged. And your change of character happened here at 4186. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Yep.
You said the change of character happened at 86.
Yeah, this is your change of character right here, 86.5. You could use this right here, but I prefer to use this one just myself because this here is seen as double bottom for retail, but I think liquidity is resting here. And that happens to be what? Previous week value area high. And from value area standpoint versus structure standpoint, what does value area high tell you here?
They didn't
If
find
you
value
cannot
above.
hold the area that you left and you get rejected back inside, there's an 80% chance you're gonna go to 41.21. It's an 80% rule in play on weekly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So there's high odds we get here, right? Should you short between this and this with full size?
No.
Not enough meat.
Guys,
No.
not enough meat, and this is a very risky area to short, right? This was a perfect D shape. You know, they're gonna get a bounce here at this level. 41.21 was gonna catch a bounce. And look at this level now, it's more visual, right? On a weekly, POC, 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 right? So they were happy to do a price discovery, but they didn't like the result. Right? They're happy to try to sell the peanut butter, but not a lot of buyers find value of that peanut butter at that price. So now it has to go back to, I mean, pretty certain we have to test this statistically here. Okay. So for tomorrow, I mean, almost you could look at these levels here now. If you were to draw a range now, where would you draw it from? Like, let's say just here.
From April till now.
Yeah, right
From
there
here?
I'd go.
Yep, that's
That's
what
a
I
good
would do as
spot.
well. Okay, so now you would be simply looking for SIGs in between. For anyone that doesn't know, SIGs is standard deviations, right? Where did 68% of the volume happen? Here's our first one. Is that what you guys got?
What was the first date on that? I can't really see it.
This one is March 31st, 4:45.
Okay, so we're still the same
Same range.
period, same period, same range.
Exactly. So you select this, right? This is our first SIG. I mean, we'll just put this guy in. Well, I guess that 41.21 level is going to be fairly important. Funny, right? Let's see, the 95. I wish they would extend these and give us labels. Did you ever submit that, TJ, as a enhancement? Somebody did, I think. The trading view.
No, I did not.
I thought somebody did. So what is this? Our second SIG?
Jake would have given it to you on Trend Spider.
He couldn't keep it himself, man. I just think he's a funny kid, though. So the 2, 3, 6 are matching at the top. And then, well, let me make sure here. Wow. Is that what everybody got?
I posted in main chat for you on 6.
I guess I have a different sig level than you do on 2 and 3 on the top.
Well, you are also drawing it fresh right now with different
Okay.
start point, so it's slightly different.
Oh, I don't know if, when did you close yours? Is it running all the way to the end?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, anyways, I'll stick with these levels. So the mean is still at 38.75. So as we said, we moved up, I think, a point on this whole run up. So as we mentioned, that means, right, that we are strategically, we're not, finding any new buyers here on this push up. Right? It wasn't really heavy followed by
This
volume
is
here.
this is so good. We got it on video. How to do it again? Thank you.
I'm glad you guys. So this is, I mean, it's fairly simple, right? And I added templates. If you guys need help, we can do that. But I'm pretty sure we're going to the CPOC. I don't advise that you short momentum CPOC. Does everybody understand that? Do not be the price discovery person at it on the short side. Let them do that for you. Let them break it. Let them come and retest it, and that's your lower risk entry. Okay. So tomorrow, obviously, I have to go back to the, the daily profile. But I think the 80% rule is what almost out there. How would you play this for tomorrow for upside here?
Like to see them reclaim the first sig, and honestly, I want them to get above that the other level we have above, and then try to go to second sig.
Okay. Anyone else?
Break a PDPOC, retest from the upside, and then go long.
Anyone else?
Yeah, you could break the value low, get a retest, and go long, but you only got about 10 points to hit 70. You got a lot of stuff in the way there, but you could still get some points.
Okay, so I could play this all the way to this 4205, right?
Yeah.
So tomorrow, if they want to do the shorts dirty here, what should they do?
They should break out of the prior day's range low, fail, and then break through the value low, retest. But basically test lower, so you need to open up below yet today's low.
If we want to see continuation tomorrow, right? Because we don't have, I wouldn't say this is the most bearish profile that we should have. Does this look like a normal profile to you guys?
No.
It looks very weird, right? I mean, we sold off here, but the volume was not shifting here. So tomorrow, if we are able to break the lows here, 53 to 38, I think that's pretty good chunk. This one happens fast. And I showed you guys also on profile, it's going to happen fast. Because if you look here, what is there here?
Skinny belly.
Yeah, there's not as much volume, even though it doesn't look like it's, a skinny belly here. Let's increase this guy to.
That's if it breaks 53?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, once we enter the 53 range, like right here, once you lose the shelves, I'll probably want to lose it below this one. Right here, once you lose this, there's a high chance you're going to come at least here. So you can trim 10, 13 points there. But I would not be looking, you should be looking to become a buyer here. You're not shorting here. Because they're gonna try to defend this now. They failed to find any value higher. So remember, put yourself back in the peanut butter shop. This guy couldn't sell the peanut butter now. Previously, he sold a lot of peanut butter here. So what do you expect to happen to peanut butter here?
People who wanted to buy at that price, buying back at that price.
Unless the demand slows down at this price, is not as aggressive. And then they're like, hey, man, I just think that peanut butter is not worth much. We heard that there's a virus in it. And they're like, I think you have to go at $2. So if he doesn't get enough here, and we'll know tomorrow, right? Or tonight. Once we see the candle and how it comes, right? If there was a lot of resting orders sitting there, that means they left them and did what?
He'll come
They
back.
just walked away. Because remember, the long time buyers, they don't move over 50 cents. They put a level and they put a range and they're just going to see. And from that point, you should see a reaction, right? You should see if it's going to make some, change the character or whatever is around, but you should see a response. If there's a weak response and, they're again consolidating here, then that means, again, potentially could be newer buyers that found this level to be interesting and they're also buying. So it's not, you can't rule that out, right? But then you have to use change of character or value area changes in, closer areas like between these days. You want to look at the value areas and see, are you being accepted when you break out above it and see, yeah, that's good. We found new set of buyers, volume proves, we're progressing on value areas. We're moving from one to another, right? And the POCs are being elongated to the P shape. Those things would kind of give you an idea that we're looking more bullish on a bounce if it doesn't happen aggressively. Okay. So for me, if I was to play this long, I really want to clear at least, this level here. Somewhere around, what is this? 4170, 4160, there's this volume node. I will want them to clean that up right now. If I'm looking for a short side, let's say we reclaim this level here, we consolidate it. Ideally, I would want them to push it back to 4194. But these volume nodes in between, if we see the weakness, you see, the breadth, the buying volume is not there. I would say just pay attention to this and the volume anomalies as you're trading tomorrow. Because if this is a true P shape, it should, I'm sorry, like a B shape. If this was a true B shape, what would you do? If this POC was here, let me just see what happens on regular. Still the same double distribution. What would you expect here? If this was actual P shape, what would you expect here?
Go
You
down.
accumulated nicely with the P shape. Then we could use this POC and the high volume nodes to short. But these volume nodes will not be the magnets as much as this POC. And that's why I would be cautious shorting here, just FYI. Because these shorts might have to be quick tomorrow, depending on how this data comes out. And you might just grab the liquidities here in between and then pop, grab liquidity, pop. And then if you lose that level tomorrow, the PDL, right? The 53, I would say it's a fairly important level that you guys have on your charts. I honestly don't even need it because it's fairly important. Okay, so if we're able to break that, somebody's hot.
Oh my goodness.
So if you're able to break the PDL here, right? If you really want to chase that, 13 points, that's fine. But just know there's going to be buyers here sitting. And then obviously we show the 4121 probably changes the character a little bit of this accumulation that we just had in the upper quadrant of the bigger one, right? So if you look here, you had a little bit here and then majority of it happened here. So if you lose that, you think about it, 68% of the volume is between this level and this level. That's pretty heavy. To break between first SIGs should be the hardest thing to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're breaking a lot of volume, but not as much volume. And then, of course, if it expands, right, to one side or another, it tells you where the volume is shifting. Is it shifting lower the lower values or higher values. So it's important to know that. Okay. Any questions? I think that's it for me. Hopefully, and I'm just running out of voice, to be honest. That's it for me, but hopefully tomorrow is not as that they don't make it boring after a day where they open and consolidate, right? So they had the sell-offs before. Hopefully we don't get one of these crazy actions like this tomorrow. So,
Shorty, I just was wondering if they raise the debt ceiling. Do you think that's enough to push it up to the POC of 42.31? There's a VPOC up there. I don't think we've touched it yet.
32.31?
Uh-huh.
I don't have a VPOC there. How far is it?
It's really old. It's back. You gotta go back a ways. I think it's August or something.
Oh.
It's old.
Well, the way I would look at it then, being as I would. Look at the range here that you have, and then maybe change this a little bit. I mean, yeah, that's small. I guess in the bigger scheme of things, I don't know if I.
You don't know how much weight that would hold?
Probably not much.
Okay.
Yeah, and you see here, 41 is important, and then they're pushing that to 70. And then they get this weird shape here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see now it's, I think, more clear. I don't think it would hold too much. I mean, you have, I guess you have it here. You have the peak. You have a peak here, so it could be actually a decent rejection. I didn't see it till now. Yeah, there is a decent peak here. So there was an aggressive, maybe 1 day or 2 day that spiked it. Because usually when you get a couple of these in a row, what does that tell you? It tells you multiple times that it was at this level and consolidating in a tight range. When you get one that sticks out, that was somebody aggressively selling. Because it was quick, right? They didn't spend a lot of time. Send it to the left. But yeah, I mean, this is a tiny consolidation, guys, in a bigger picture, I would say, just FYI. Okay. All right. Well, I will post my notes in the morning. Let's see how we open. I believe there's some news for Euro markets coming out tonight. So if we break this level here, the purple area, you want to be somewhat cautious, right? You see that you have a node here as well, but that's where you literally rejected. So it's this node here that you're rejecting right now. And you're coming and you're not able to break that level. As soon as you're able to break that level here, you have a high chance, that you're potentially going to go here even 80%. So if they want to create new value where they want to hold this, that will be your sign that they're creating, they want to go higher. They come in here, they hold, boom, they probably go to PD value area high. They could trap some, right, bulls here in this range, because this would be probably a 3-day POC if I was to grab from here to here and not extend. And that would be right on, we would miss it by a point, right? So it would be a fairly important level, right? 3-day balance broken within balance, you're coming back to this level. In this picture, right, if I was to extend this guy right, you see now, let me just hide this so you guys can see kind of at least how I look at the data. So now if you look at this, remember how we talked about the liquidity sizes? You guys remember when we did this in the watch list? We talked about the liquidities, the size of the liquidities. If you hop over one, most likely you're trending higher. If you make higher highs and change the character, you're going to go through the biggest ones, right? And your goal is to get where? As a seller, right? Just again, auction. What is my goal as a seller? What do I want to do?
Get the price up high.
I want to maximize my profits.
Yeah.
So my goal is to get to here and get rid of it all, where I know I'll be able to close it out, close the inventory. Once I sell it all here, Some people will be short, and I'll just wait back again when I can get it cheap. So that's why I think, they could push it to this, but you have to watch for the shift here. That happens. Don't be caught shorting a dual tape tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Because they're going to try to catch people. If it's a quick spike here, don't play that immediate quick spike on the PDL break. Let them retest, especially if they break this tonight. If they break this tonight and they bring it back, I think they're going to run from here and run to the upside here. Because they need, they got to give a confusion, shorts, bulls. What happened? Did you guys see many bullish tweets today from anyone? It seems
Just
like
never.
all of the bulls
Nope.
went away.
Once we their prediction, they go quiet.
Yeah, so they're not as excited. So how do you get them excited?
Got to ramp it up again.
You do a V-shaped recovery, and then they say, "I told you so." And then the bears went here, and then they say, "Hey, see, I told you so," right? So it becomes a game of ego. They're enhancing your emotions to see who's right and wrong, and that's really not really important at the moment. Important is to make money and stay focused on the game rather than who's right, who's wrong.
Right now, you have a 1 hour cloud right directly above the POC.
1 hour or
1
65
hour.
minutes.
I have it set at 1 hour.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, mine's above the POC. I don't know why that. Yeah, set at 1 hour.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 3-minute chart, so I don't know if that matters.
Well, I might shift it. Nope.
That's weird.
Yours are better, I guess.
No. See, we have the same script. I don't know why mine's.
You say
directly above.
3-minute or 30-minute?
30-minute.
30-minute.
Does everybody else have different?
Mine is sitting here. It's between 41.95.
Are you using the ES June contract and not the ES continuation?
No, I always use ES1.
Yeah. I don't know.
Huh.
I'm on ETH. I'm live.
Oh, I'm on ES1 asterisk. Maybe that's the difference.
I'm on that too.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I'm on
asterisk.
ETH.
I'm on exclamation point.
Yeah, exclamation point. Yeah, same thing. Sorry. That's what I'm on. 30-minute.
I'll switch to June to see. No, still the same.
I don't know. That's weird.
Maybe delete them, put them back on. I'll do the same. I don't know who else does it. But my point is, make sure you check these. Keep this at least on. And the best thing you could do is probably grab this from the lows here, wherever the lows were the first. I would say maybe don't go that far. Go from this here and grab it to the top here if you want to see really where the buyers were. Right? So now take a look at what this is telling you.
I'm sorry, you do have it. I was looking at today's POC. The one that's
okay.
on the
Oh,
session.
okay.
The session POC.
Okay. All right, I'll check it. So now if you guys look at this, what is this message telling you? I just grabbed from the low to the highs. What is this price telling you here?
They don't like that price. They're rejecting it.
Okay. What is it psychologically telling you between buyers and sellers?
The sellers are overcoming the buyers.
Exactly. The oversellers came over, they're much stronger here than buyers. So they're in control at the moment of this upfront. Sellers in control. And it's fairly interesting that, without it, we identify this area as over this, that we go and we're looking bullish. But we said something in the beginning that hopefully it's connecting the dots. If this demand was fairly real, right, we should have gotten a little bit of a bounce here, don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah.
But we sliced through it. So now the interesting point is the fix here. We have to fix this. We got to test this level here tonight. And then I would say, you know, if you're here, pretty sure you're going to grind down to here. But this is going to be prepared. So this is your buying. This is our, you know, so far it seems like they confirmed it was a short cover rally. If they're able to reclaim it, then it might have been a trap. Because that would have been a good trap, right? You consolidate it, lies below, came back here. If you do this, then you have these liquidities and you could target, you know, on this profile, you would target this or here for 80% chance to get out, which is not bad. Who wouldn't take 35 points on it, on a contract, even if it's MES? Good money, right? So you're watching this for tomorrow, right? You want to make sure you're aware of this. But then if you look at the sell-off, right? I mean, this is, you can say sell-off started here. And if you don't like that, I mean, it's art. It's not really right or wrong. Here, I'm grabbing more consolidation, even though this was the high. I would grab personally from here because this, you know, it's not like you went too far here. Yes, you consolidated this and this was the sell-off. So I'm aware of that, right? So this would be a good level to be short. Because this is where you consolidated, you dropped, and you're coming back to PD value area high, where they didn't like it. They gave you, you know, this retest today here as well. I think this was one of the SIGs. Also on NQ, it was actually a SIG, perfect retest. But here, if they come back, this is a pretty good short. You're better off shorting here and losing here than you are shorting the bottom and losing here. Does that make sense? Your odds are much cleaner. Remember on the V shape, when you do this, when you buy stocks here and you don't see a reversal, you have a drawdown here. Remember, there's a drawdown king on Twitter. He buys here and then he'll keep, he's actually long from what I've seen. If he's buying here, of course, millions of dollars. He's buying here. I mean, the drawdown is massive till he's right. And he'll be right, but his timing is wrong. Instead of buying when you're in upside and not having any drawdown, here you're shaking and you could get blown out. Right? And that's a fairly risky concept to trade. I don't advise anyone trading. Your entries have to be somewhat correct in the time in order for you to be successful, at least on the risk reward side. Either that or buy time. But the margins on futures, you don't get a lot of time. If you buy 15 ES, you better be right, you know, before 415.
His account would be pretty big because he's not getting liquidated.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see it. Getting that many 20 contracts is a lot of notional value, guys. Each point is what, 4,200? I'm sorry. Each point is $50, and now you're at, let's say we are at 4161. Just multiply it.
$1,000 a point.
Yeah. No, not $1,000 a point. That's not true.
It's 50 times 20, right?
4161 times 50, right?
Times 50. Oh.
And your notional value is 208 per contract. If you have 20, $4 million on 20 contracts. That would be your notional value on the contract itself.
Oh, okay.
What was that for? Like what?
That's your notional value of the contract. If each point on ES is $50, correct? 12.5 per tick.
Yes.
So 4 times 12.5 is
40 is 56. Or
50. 50
50
points. So $50 is any time ES moves from, let's say, 41.70 to 71. So you get $50, right? So to get notional value, you take where it's at right now and you multiply by 50 points because each one is 50.
Right.
So now you get 208,000 notional value, and if you're trading 20 contracts, you better have in your account $4 million. You don't want to fuck up too much.
No, definitely not.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'll write it up, and if you guys have any questions, shoot it. Hopefully, you guys picked up some knowledge. If not, we'll keep working, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Shorty, thank you very much, man. Feel better.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Good night,
Thanks, Shorty.
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Rockets.
Hey guys.
Thank you, Drew.